Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi, Bu Rohana.
Ya, apa kabar, Bu Mimi?
Alhamdulillah, baik, Bu.
Ya, maaf ya, saya sepatutnya keluar video tapi tak tahu, tak dapat video.
Oh iya, Bu, tidak apa-apa, Bu.
Boleh bisa nampak saya punya PowerPoint?
Bisa.
Bisa, Bu. Bisa.
Okey.
Ya.
Okey, Ibu Mutiara apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah baik, Bu Rohana, apa kabar?
Ya, alhamdulillah.
Ya, di sini juga ada Bu Uke, Bu Rohana.
Oh, ramainya.
Kabar Bu Rohana.
Kalian
Apa kabar?
semua kangen ini. Lama nggak ketemu ya.
Ya, lama nggak ketemu. Ini masing-masing di rumah ya, Bu?
Iya, Ibu Rohana juga.
Ya. Tapi sekarang ni yesterday, hari ni public holiday.
Oh iya.
Cutinya ulang tahun Raja.
Oh.
Okey.
Iya. Bisa langsung dimulai
Ya.
Bu ya.
Okey.
Baik.
How many students do we have?
33.
33. Okay. Okay, let us start first. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. So my lecture today is on nutrition in pregnancy. I would like to go, because this is undergraduate program, so I tried my best to fulfill the
Bu Neni di
Okay. For this morning, I will try to discuss a little bit on nutrition in pregnancy in terms of the complication, in terms of the requirements, and also what are the current issues in pregnancy all over the world, including developing countries and also for developed countries. So nutritional related with pregnancy, which is common, is anemia, iron deficiency, gestational diabetes mellitus, preeclampsia and eclampsia, NTDs in infant, gestational weight gain and food insecurity. So these are the problems, current issues that we may facing while dealing with pregnant women, which is what we call nutritional related problem with pregnancy. So other nutrition related problems during pregnancy is morning sickness, cravings, pica and food aversions, heartburn, constipation and hemorrhoids, gestational diabetes, high blood pressure. So these are the symptoms that you are having while during pregnancy, but some people, not all people are facing the same problems or symptoms during pregnancy. Like for example, morning sickness. Not all women go through the process of morning sickness. Some of them, they don't have morning sickness at all. But heartburn, constipation is very common, and sometimes you do have gastritis. So let's say, for example, if you have gastritis before pregnancy, but during pregnancy, your gastritis may be worsened due to heartburn. And gestational diabetes is what we call it's not a permanent diabetes, but it is not an existing diabetes, meaning that women may healthy before they enter pregnancy phase, but during the pregnancy they would have gestational diabetes. And gestational diabetes is not permanent. it's only exists during the pregnancy, but somehow epidemiological studies showed that gestational diabetes can lead to permanent type 2 diabetes when after 10 years of after post delivery. Yeah, so this is our main concern on GDM, gestational diabetes mellitus. And high blood pressure is related with eclampsia and preeclampsia. Okay, nutrition before conception. So this is very important, where adequate nutrition is essential for tissue formation, neurological development, bone growth, and also remodeling. Means that the building of the bones and the buildings of the physiological requirement is very important and rely totally on nutrition. Yeah, helps to achieve peak physical and intellectual potential in adult life, and problems related to nutrient deficiency develop at early stage, and we do have neural tube defects or NTDs. So in Malaysia also we do have the same problem. NTDs is still high due to nutrient deficiency, because among our pregnant women, it is not only due to overnutrition, but also we do have problems with nutrient deficiency. So NTDs is related to inadequate folate status, even though in certain countries they have prescribed folate and also iron tablet for the pregnant woman, but still we need to educate the mothers about healthy nutrition during pregnancy, because we do still have these NTDs. So neural tube defects is not totally when we prescribe supplementation to the mothers, it is not adequate, that we need also to teach the mothers apart from supplementation on how to get healthy and balanced nutrition during the pregnancy. So this is our challenge as an educator. Being people working in nutrition field, the hardest challenge is how to educate people, even though public knows the consequences, the impact of inadequacy of nutrient and also excess of nutrient. That's why that is the main problem in our field, that we need to educate people. So NTDs also affects the embryo in the first few weeks, and adequate folate 400 microgram daily before conception can reduce the risk. So that is the main program in other countries, where I mean in developed countries, because they are rich countries. For adolescents, they have prepared the adolescents where they prescribe folate to the school teenagers in order their body they will prepare for the teenage pregnancy before conception, and because it will reduce the NTDs. So NTDs is not the underdeveloped countries only pregnancy related problem, but in other developed countries also. So it is due to inadequate folate. So those families in developing countries, when I in US, when I noticed that most of the pregnancies are not ready pregnancy, like for example teenage pregnancy. So pregnancy among teenagers, so NTD is high, because most few teenagers, they come from poor family, so they do have problems with food availability at home. Yeah, because the family is the recipient of the food stamp program. So food stamp program in US is among for those food insecurity family. So therefore, their children, their teenagers also do have problems with inadequate folate when their body is not ready for teenage pregnancy. So this is the main issue of, this is the main issues in among developed countries. So apart from that, like for example, in developed countries like UK and US, the main problems which affect birth defect is alcohol and illegal drugs as the main social problem right now. Even though we do have problems with drugs as well, but in bigger country they have bigger coverage of drugs smuggling. Like for example, in US, every corner of the US they do have problems with drug smugglings, drug addictions, and it is common in the community. So that is the main issue which lead to the misuse of drugs and alcohol, leads to the birth defects or NTDs in among adolescents in developed countries. So quit smoking and adopt healthy lifestyle. Reduce consumption of caffeine, medications, and supplements can lead to healthy pregnancy. Okay, a healthful diet and appropriate levels of physical activity before conception is important to promote optimal body weight, which is best with normal BMI is a best chance of uncomplicated pregnancy and delivery, lower risk of negative outcomes such as prolonged labor, cesarean section, GDM, and also hypertension. So the father's nutrition also before the pregnancy is also important because it is related with the sperm numbers and motility of the sperm, ability to move, which like for example, if the father is alcohol consumption and certain prescription and illegal drugs will lead to the fetus health status. So adequate nutrition keeps the immune system strong and promotes fertility among the for the infant. Yeah, so it is very important. That's the reason why the second-hand smoker, the second smoker is very like if the father is a smoker and the mother is living in the same house and get pregnant, so it will affect also the fetus during the pregnancy. So a balanced, nourishing diet throughout pregnancy provides the nutrients needed and supports fetal growth and development, provides the mother with the nutrition she needs, and minimize the risk of excess energy intake. So nutrition during pregnancy also include full term of pregnancy, which is last 38 to 42 weeks, and 3 trimester lasting 13 to 40 weeks is for every trimester. So one trimester is 13 weeks, and then second trimester, and then third trimester. Yeah. So because every trimester is very important, although some of the studies done, they concentrate on trimester 1 or trimester 2, and some of the studies showed that physical activity is important only in trimester 1, but it is not effective anymore at trimester 2 and trimester 3. So when we are talking about physical activity, it should be throughout the trimester. So during the first trimester, zygote travels through the fallopian tube and implants in the wall of the uterus, which is very important for the development of the organs, facial features, and placenta. And if vulnerable to teratogens during this time, where spontaneous abortion is very crucial during this period. So placenta provide nutrients via the this is one of the diagram that I put here, where the process need means that the nutrient supply is very important starting from conception, means that before the ovulation happen. Like for example, during the ovum, the egg is released from the ovary. So during that period, nutrient supply from the mother is very, very important. That is why most of the program, if you can see in other countries, they concentrated among girls before they got pregnant because they want to produce the ovum. The process of ovulation is a healthy ovum which can release from the ovary. So fertilization, ovum is later fertilized by a single sperm cell into the uterine tube, and the zygote will travel along the rapid cell division as it travels towards uterus, and then it happen with implantation where uterus can become the fetus. So these are just for your information, where the process of the embryo is only 3 weeks, and then it takes about 5 weeks, and then about 10 weeks. So this is very important. Although you have to do physical activity, but you need to consult with the physician if you want to do physical activity. But somehow some people, it doesn't matter if they work a little bit more on physical activity because it depends on the individuals. Okay, second trimester, continued growth and maturation. Growth from about 3 inches to over a foot long by the end of the second trimester. Some babies born prematurely. The end of second trimester survive with intensive neonatal care. So third trimester, time of intense growth and maturation. Fetus will grow up to 3/4 of its weight. Brain growth is also extensive. Lungs become fully mature. A balanced, adequate diet for the mother continues to be critical. So that is why throughout the pregnancy, trimester 1, trimester 2, trimester 3, most of the throughout the pregnancy, the adequate diet and nutrition is very important. Okay, there is a bigger theory regarding low birth weight infants, but I will not discuss further in this lecture because it is about theory, what we call Barker theories, if you have heard. But Barker theories usually I discuss during the postgraduate lecture, yet on how the theory of the what we call fetal programming in the during pregnancy can lead to low birth weight infant, and low birth weight infant after when they grow up during the adulthood, low birth weight infant finally will lead to chronic diseases. This is the current theory under the low birth weight, where baby born which is less than what we call 2.5 milligram for the 2,500 gram low birth weight, yeah, and the baby will have the increased risk of infection, learning disabilities, impact physical development, and death in the first year of life. So preterm babies, like for example, WHO right now is giving emphasis or stress on 1,000 days life for after delivery. So this is where low birth weight comes in. Low birth weight can lead to stunting children, and stunting children, what we call healthy dwarfism. Healthy dwarfism means that children might not have the what we call the critical period of diseases, but they prone to infection, and they do have cognitive function disabilities, and yet these stunting children will grow into the adulthood with chronic diseases. So that is why from the fetus, before conception, and then fetus, and then pregnancy, and then first year of life, and yet stunting children, all those nutrition throughout the lifespan to prevent chronic diseases, in particular cardiovascular related diseases during adult. So these are the theories that brought by Barker. And nowadays we have another theory, what they call Dohat theory. So Dohat is much more complicated because it is about environment factors, which actually environment in the environment of the fetus during pregnancy will lead to the programming of environment when after delivery until adult. So in fact this theory is now still questionable and debatable whether um, chronic disease is due to genetic or it is due to the environmental factors. So preterm babies, what are preterm babies? Are born before 38 weeks, and infants which are small for gestational age are full term but weight less than expected for age. So these are the example. Okay, weight gain. Typically, weight gain during pregnancy, too much weight gain is also risky, and we do have uh, requirement or recommendation or guideline from the Institute of Medicine or WHO in terms of weight gain. Too much weight gain is also risky. Pattern of weight gain is important. Okay, first trimester is 3 to 5 pounds, means that and second and trimester is average. So 1 pound is equal to 2.2 kilogram. Yeah? So 2.2 kilogram, second and third trimesters average per week, we need to gain weight. And weight loss during pregnancy may deprive the fetus of critical nutrients, and birth weight is the main indicator of pregnancy. Usually we do have low birth weight babies, and we do have macrosomia babies. So low birth weight babies is related with the undernourished mothers. So this is the new guideline that we use for recommended weight gain for women during pregnancy, but it is based on body mass index. Previously, traditionally, our doctors use the range category need to be increased throughout the pregnancy, but it is not working. So, and IOM after 2009, they have revised the recommended weight gain, and finally they use recommended weight gain to based on pre-pregnancy weight status, or they call it pre-pregnancy body mass index. So how to get pre-pregnancy is the body mass index at the very early stage of pregnancy. And there are many debates on where to get pre-pregnancy weight status. And some of them, some of the researchers, they told they argue in terms of pre-pregnancy because at first trimester it is about the weight of the fetus already. But latest reference that I searched, the latest reference regarding the appraisal of pre-pregnancy weight status, the researcher or IOM has agreed that pre-pregnancy weight status can be based on the first booking of the first trimester of the mothers, because there is no such country in the world do have database for body mass index before they got pregnant. So when the mothers like when the mothers register for the antenatal booking, we straight away measure their weight and height, and that will be our pre-pregnancy weight status, because we need to calculate the body mass index, and when we recommend the total weight throughout the pregnancy to the mothers, we base on the body mass index. Yeah, like for example, if the mother is obese, which is 30 kilogram BMI, and then you need to have this total weight gain throughout the pregnancy only in that category, in that range. So it is easier for the nurses to monitor their weight gain and also the mothers, because the mothers can be aware, or I cannot exceed more than 20 pounds with my BMI. But for those, if we can see the overweight and obese, the weight gain need to be much lower than for those who are normal body mass index and also underweight. For underweight, like less than 18 point, means that the underweight mothers, the requirement or recommended weight gain is between 28 to 40 pounds. So on how, if the country use kilogram metric system, then we'll just multiply 2.2 and then we can convert into kilogram. Okay, during the pregnancy, your weight is contributed by many factors, like as what we can see: extracellular fluids, breast tissue, maternal blood, uterus, amniotic fluid, and also placenta. And the maternal fat and also the fetus is the most contribution component element to our to the pre-pregnancy weight. Okay, nutrition during the requirement for nearly all nutrients increase during pregnancy. So, like for example, in US, they have choose my plate for mom. So I think it is good if our countries also do have this guideline, which is much more simpler and simplified, so that the mom, the mothers can go into the website and how to make their menu plan. Yeah, and because the much attentions are paid to the macronutrients, energy, micronutrients, and fluids, because when we ask for the calorie, most of the mothers, they do not have time to go into calorie counting. So my plate is one of the, they call it my plate mom. Eh? US has already do have this my plate mom. So it is easier for the mothers to measure their and to choose their food intake for during the pregnancy, throughout the pregnancy. Okay, macronutrient, as we know, energy, protein, and carbohydrate, all everything should be increased. But somehow for the first trimester, we do not increase or add the calories to the mother's first trimester, because it is based on the requirement of energy intake for women, normal women. But during second and third trimester, we add between 350 to 450 kilocalories by maximizing nutrient density and also approved program of regular moderate physical activity. So physical activity is necessary throughout the pregnancy, even though we have this what we call pregnancy taboo. Some of the women believe that it is not it is important that during pregnancy you should have total rest. Don't do any physical activity, because it may lead to abortion of the fetus. Yeah, but that is a taboo. That is not a theory. Yeah, so the main theory which can lead to abortion is about nutrient requirement rather than physical activity requirement. So that's the answer why previous elderly women, they manage to do many heavy things during pregnancy, but they still don't have abortion. They can deliver their baby safely. Yeah. So if we can see, we read lots on physical activity among pregnant women. There are lots of recommendation and appropriate physical activity which can be educated to the mothers according to the trimesters. So protein and carbohydrate, 75 grams minimum of carbohydrate, meaning that we can put put into snacking during second and third trimester, because we want to add calories which is equivalent not more than 450 calories per day during second and third trimester. So fat, same percentage of calorie as in non-pregnancy. Limit saturated fat, avoid trans fatty acid. So the main problem in our country, same as well in Malaysia and also in Indonesia, is about trans fatty acid. We do have lots of trans fatty acid because we don't have regulation and enforcement of using oils during cooking. That is very simple example of trans fatty acid consumption in our society, regardless of looking into the industrial trans fatty acid. Industrial trans fatty acid means that food products that available in the market, which has been produced by using trans fatty acid because it is very cheap. So what is trans fat food? Trans fat foods means that foods has been produced by using very low quality oil, cooking oil. So because if you are using polyunsaturated fat, like for example, sunflower oil during your cooking, but then you recycle again the same cooking oil by using different temperature, hot temperature, high temperature, your polyunsaturated fat of the cooking oil can convert into the trans fatty acid, which is much more harmful from the which is much more harmful from the cholesterol, because our body can produce our own cholesterol. So this is very danger, the very big concern in our country, and yet our politicians, our political situation right now, which we just change our government suddenly, so we cannot concentrate on the marketing on the food industry, because our to even though public trans fatty acid, yes, people know about, oh, this is dangerous, but since our food product is always do have trans fat acid, trans fat, so this trans fat will lead to chronic diseases. So fat helps newborn regulate body temperature. So even though mothers, even though we need to reduce our fat, but we need to increase polyunsaturated fat, which is for omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acid, is critical for neurology and eye development of the fetus. So apart from that is micronutrients that are most critical: folate, vitamin B, C, A, D, calcium, iron, zinc, sodium, iodine, and vital. It is vital nutrients for our pregnant woman. So it is very important. The main important thing is a balanced diet, even though we are pregnant. Okay, changes in nutrient recommendations also different. While pregnancy. So folate required for cell division of fetus and also the spinal cord. Yeah. So we have discussed a little bit just now regarding deficiency is associated with neural tube defect and macrocytic Yes, so recommended dietary allowance for pregnant woman is 600 micro per day. So microgram is very, very minute, very little. So it actually, by theory, we don't need from the supplement. But somehow during pregnancy, if I have not mistaken, in other parts of the world also, supplementation also has been given, because we are not very sure whether the pregnant woman do have the access to the folate through dietary intake. So that is the main reason why supplementation of folate is given at antenatal health clinics. Okay, this is an example of spinal bifida due to acid folate just now. Lacking of folate will lead to spinal bifida. And vitamin B12 regenerates the active form of folate. So main sources are from animal foods, fortified foods or supplementation for women or vegan diets. And vitamin C to connective tissues. Decrease concentration in maternal blood where vitamin is transferred to fetus. So kalau if the blood volume increase, therefore the vitamin can travel to the fetus. So that's why it is important for us to get vitamin C also during pregnancy. But lacking of deficiency of vitamin C also lead to preterm birth and also other complications. So like for example, if people are smoking, the husband is smoking, the mother is pregnant during at that time, so the mother will consider as a second smoker, therefore it will lead to lowers the serum and amniotic fluid levels of vitamin C. So it is very important when you find a partner, they are not smokers for girls. Okay, be careful. Even though when you fall in love with someone, just ask them and make sure that they are not smokers because it will affect your babies during pregnancy. Okay, vitamin A need to increase by 10% in pregnancy. Deficiency linked to risk of low birth weight and also preterm delivery. And vitamin D also supplements recommended for pregnant women with darkly pigmented skin or limited sun exposure. So this is not a big problem in our country, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in ASEAN countries. But vitamin D is a main problem in Middle East. Middle East because of their costume. And some of the women, many of the women, they do not go out because it's very hot in Middle East. So vitamin D, there are lots of studies showed that vitamin D, lack of vitamin D is the main problem among women. Okay, calcium, pregnant women absorb calcium more efficiently and pregnant lactose intolerant women. So let's say if the mother cannot do have problems with lactose intolerance, where people cannot tolerate to the lactose from milk, so it can replace by with other calcium fortified or low lactose food, like for example soya bean, or they can drink soya instead of milk. So iron deficiency anemia is well known. Even in Indonesia, there are the prevalence of iron deficiency anemia is still high. Same thing in Malaysia as well, where as I have checked, that prevalence of iron deficiency anemia among pregnant women in Indonesia is almost 39%. The latest data in 2019, if I have not mistaken, please correct me. But that when I checked with the world data for anemia, iron deficiency anemia in pregnant women. So zinc also increased 38% during pregnancy, which is requirement. Absorption of zinc from supplement is inhibited by high intakes of non-hemi iron, which is found in iron supplements. So this is the main barrier for zinc absorption. Because sometimes, because lacking of zinc will lead to fetal malformation and also premature birth, which will decrease the birth size of the baby and also extended labor during delivery. Because iron supplementation, non-hemi iron, which is usually from the supplement. Supplement always contained with non-hemi iron, which is because supplement is not from dietary intake. Supplement is chemical bounded. Therefore, they have non-hemi iron. Non-hemi iron will give a barrier to the zinc absorption. Yeah? So that is why we call the bioavailability of iron absorption. That is the main problem, even though the mothers comply to the iron supplementation. Some of the countries do have problems where mothers do not comply to the iron supplementation given at during the antenatal clinic. But the other problem is about the bioavailability of the absorption of iron due to the absorption of zinc due to the iron supplementation. Because when the mothers rely on iron supplementation, culturally, they accept the iron supplementation as a medication. Therefore, they do not pay much attention on iron intake from the daily requirement. So this is our worry because they think that, okay, iron supplementation is a medication. So why must we worry about what we eat? Because we already have the iron supplementation where they consider as a medication. Yeah. So sources can always read meats. So I don't think we do have problems from the sources. In Indonesia, we do have sources of red meats, shellfish, means that from the and also from fortified cereals. And sodium, excess sodium increase body fluids as a normal and necessary part of pregnancy. Sodium, I don't think is a main problem of intake in terms of sodium. But we do have problems with the excessive intake. So blood pressure lead to preeclampsia during whereas the fetus. Okay, iodine. In Malaysia also we have this. Last time when I was a student, days I remember that my lecturer when I was undergraduate like you. From third year to final student days, I visited iodinator program. In Malaysia, we do have in 90s at that time we do have iodinator program in our population. But nowadays, we don't have iodinator program anymore, but we do have iodinator salt provide to the mother. Get also in our supermarket also, we do have iodized salt. So balanced healthful diet will provide all the issue in our country, but we do have certain area that still have struggling with iodine level. Like for example, in East Malaysia, which is nearer to Kalimantan, we have Sarawak. So Sarawak is nearer to the Kalimantan, and we still do have problems with iodine, but not in other peninsular Malaysia anymore. So supplements during pregnancy, prenatal multivitamin mineral supplements are not strictly necessary if our pregnant woman fulfill the requirement of dietary intake. If our pregnant woman do have awareness and also understand the nutrition education during pregnancy, I think that by doing that, meeting all nutrient needs requires careful and complex dietary planning. So we will reduce the burden of the country for giving prenatal multivitamin mineral supplements to the mothers. So there are lots of study has been done in Indonesia, and I admit that studies done for pregnant is a very successful program in the Indonesia compared to Malaysia, because we do not have that kind of program, but we do have what we call fortified food products. So in our industrial food products, we fortified already the iodine, the iron level in our commercialization, food commercialization. So therefore, we don't yet have this program for fortification for pregnant women to be implemented at national level. Okay, supplements is to be taken in addition. It is not the substitute. Ya, bukan sebagai gantian, tetapi sebagai tambahan kepada pemakanan seimbang ibu mengandung tadi. Yeah, so the main point as a nutritionist, we need to educate the mothers. Supplement is only tambahan. Is that we are giving is not a main ataupun bukan gantian ataupun bukan ubat, tetapi ia hanyalah sebagai tambahan sahaja kepada pemakanan seimbang sewaktu mengandung. Okay, fluids is very important to is because amniotic fluid need fluid where we need to increase 3 liters per day, increase blood volume of mother to protect the fetus. Okay, and it is also to prevent urinary tract infection, UTI. Urinary tract infection is very common among pregnant women. Okay, these are the nutrition related concern that we have. I don't want to go further because it is about, but on how to prevent morning sickness. I believe myself when I was pregnant, what I did, the main thing is physical activity to reduce morning sickness. First trimester is very hard for me when I have this morning sickness, but I overcome morning sickness by doing physical activity, by brisk walking. So I do brisk walking from first trimester until my delivery for pregnancy. So it is very effective to reduce the morning sickness and also reduce your weight gain during pregnancy. But so during morning sickness, you can eat very small but frequent meals and consume more fluids between meals. So this is very important, which can occur at any time. So, but some women, they experience nausea and vomiting at first trimester, but not in second or third trimester. Okay, craving. And then constipation is also very important to eat fiber. To eat fiber, 20 to 35 grams per day of fiber, and I always believe in physically active during pregnancy. Okay, GDM is the main diseases during pregnancy, because the main problem is macrosomia baby and also risk of type 2 diabetes and overweight among women, because epidemiological studies showed that women with type 2 diabetes do have history of GDM during their period, can sudden increase in maternal blood pressure, and it is very important for the delivery. For bone illness is very important. Be careful with the for exercise during pregnancy is to also system of the body. Okay, I will give the slide to your to Mutiara probably or to Ibu Mimi. So I will send the slide so that you can have my slide. Okay, and exercise. Also, these are the exercise plan. Warm up, and then you. This is also exercise plan that we can use for the pregnant woman. Yeah. So don't forget, even though we are nutritionists, we advise people who are pregnant women for dietary intake, but still do not forget physical activity and exercise. Okay, alcohol we don't have problem. We have talk about many relating with smoking and also drugs. Okay, this is breastfeeding, advantage of breastfeeding, and challenges to the breastfeeding, and these are the challenges what we are facing during pandemic COVID-19 for pregnant women is food insecurity due to food access, due to the food availability, utilization, and stability. Because nowadays, I'm sure Indonesia is also suffering the same thing. And I have read the numbers of COVID deaths in Jakarta is very, very detrimental to the population. And yet, more people will facing hunger and food security, which finally will harm the mothers, especially about food safety issues, and it is about the agriculture supply to the nation. So with that, I'm happy having all of you today, all those students, Ibu Mutiara, Ibu Uka, and also Ibu Memi for my lecture. I hope that we can meet again. I really miss to go to Indonesia because usually when we have all these long break, so I will plan with my husband to go to Jakarta or Bandung because it's a very nice place and we really enjoy the Indonesian food. So with that, I end my lecture. Thank you. And if you have any question, you can ask right now if you have any.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rohana. So, first of all, I'd like to reintroduce Dr. Rohana to the whole participants. So currently we have like 42 participants with us. Some of them, yeah. So some of them are the class member. Some of them are our faculty members. So here with us we have Ibu Memi and then Ibu Uke. And we also have Ibu Santi, Ibu Afiria, and some other faculty members as well.
Oh, I see. There are
Yeah.
many.
And department as well, and some alumni, and some attending participants are actually our alumni and from the general yeah, we have some. I think we have someone from Jakarta as well. So yeah, it's quite diverse. So so I think I have to introduce you as well to them. So Dr. Rohana, thank you very much for joining us in our guest lecture. So Dr. Rohana is a associate professor from USM, and she has so many. Dr. Rohana here. We already have several questions from the floor. Okay, I think I'll share the question here. Oh, hold on. So the first question, let me see. So the first question is from Ibu Miha or Bapak Miha. I'm I'm not really sure about this. So, Ibu or Bapak Miha usually occur during the first trimester. Relate another question: do we need additional supplements to deal with nausea and vomiting? I think Dr. Rohana can address the first question.
Okay, so morning sickness is common during pregnancy, and it is a very, very, it's not comfortable at all. And the level of degree of morning sickness is also different. But I always share with my colleagues when regarding pregnancy, those who I always advise them to do physical activity rather than getting supplement, because getting supplement is, as I said just now, it will interfere the zinc absorption during supplement. Yeah, like for example, when I have done lots of works on gestational weight gain, because I work on the project of gestational weight gain, and there are lots of my postgraduate students who are working on the same area, especially for public health area. They are really interested on pregnancy, maternal nutrition. So when the mothers ask them, we advise to do physical activity before they got pregnant. So when we give in the antenatal classes on physical activity, yes, they told me we can reduce the symptoms during the first trimester. But the continuously doing the physical activity, so it is to reduce the symptom of morning sickness, because there are lots of food company or multivitamin company is offering, or herb companies, oh, this is good, that if you take this, you don't have morning sickness anymore, but it is not working. So it is much more on commercialization of the product. So that's what I think about the morning sickness and how to reduce the symptom during pregnancy.
Okay. Oke, Dr. Rohana, thank you. Semoga ini sudah menjawab pertanyaan dari Ibu Miha.
Masuk.
Suaranya ada yang masuk. Oke, Bapak Ibu sekalian, sekali lagi saya sampaikan juga kepada adik-adik mahasiswa, kalau ada pertanyaan atau tanggapan dapat disampaikan langsung, karena ini sudah sesi tanya jawab, dengan menggunakan fitur raise hand. Nanti pertanyaannya bisa disampaikan dalam bahasa Inggris maupun bahasa Indonesia. Nanti akan saya bantu menerjemahkan apabila perlu, tapi kayaknya Dr. Rohana nggak masalah kan ya ditanya dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Bisa,
silakan. Jadi betul. So if you have any question, you can ask your question in either bahasa Indonesia or in English. You can use the raise hand feature. I think while waiting for the next question, I'm interested in one point in your presentation. You've mentioned before the importance of nutrition before conception. In Indonesia, we realize it's the same situation. So we try to approach the what you call it, the teenagers, the adolescent, so the female adolescents, and through the school program, school supplementation program, providing them with the iron supplementation. What about in Malaysia? Do you have like something in place, and how's the situation with the nutrition before conception program in your country?
That is very interesting question, Ibu Mutiara, regarding the program for adolescent. So far we have that what we call pasukan sekolah. So pasukan sekolah, but somehow when I investigated or I evaluate the pasukan sekolah, it is much more on measuring the anthropometric measurement, but it is not they do not stress on nutrition education for adolescent. So this is what need to be done at our country level. Apart from school feeding program, that one is for younger children, younger school children. But for adolescent, we do not have much program on adolescent. When I think many researchers in our country, many researchers they are tuned by the funders, what we call grant availability. In the university, when they do research, they base on what are the grants offered. So in Malaysia, grants offered for research is concentrating on the current problem. So the current problem in Malaysia is obesity, because half of the population are obese right now. So they do not much pay attention on in terms of life cycle. So now, like for example, school feeding program, we don't have grant offered for school feeding program or to improve the intervention for children, because government feel that, oh, this is not a major problem in our country, because even though the children are stunting, but they are still healthy. They still can go to school. They are not bedridden. Ya, kiranya kanak-kanak yang stunting masih lagi sehat. Bagi mereka, apa yang menjadi isu kalau kanak-kanak masih sihat dan boleh pergi ke sekolah seperti biasa. Tetapi yang menjadi isu adalah obesiti di kalangan dewasa yang boleh membawa kepada penyakit-penyakit kronik. Makanya kewangan ataupun financial untuk membuat penyelidikan hanya berfokuskan kepada chronic disease management dewasa, tetapi bukan adolescent. Ya, walau bagaimanapun, we have few researchers who are working on adolescent, but it's not very good enough, masih belum sangat kuat untuk melonjakkan pihak pemerintah untuk memberi geran-geran penyelidikan dalam remaja. So itu adalah isu yang menjadi isu utama di Malaysia, sebab kewangan pembiayaan yang diberikan, biaya yang diberikan untuk penyelidikan berfokus hanya kepada diabetes, berfokus kepada penyakit kronik, bukan persedia pelajar mahasiswa sebelum mereka berumah tangga. Jadi itu tidak diberikan penekanan sepenuhnya dalam pendidikan pemakanan.
Okay. Yes, we have like we tried so many things to improve reproductive health in Indonesia. We try to deal with the adolescent. We also have programs in place for the bride to be, because I think it's common in the Eastern world. Pregnancy occurs without proper planning as in the Western world. So yeah, the government tried to approach the bride to be, and they gave like counseling and many programs to improve the nutrition status. So once they got married, they're ready to have babies, and the reproductive health status is better from from before they become a bride to be.
Yeah.
So, and we have I think this is the last question, because it's we already passed the time. So this is the last question from Ibu Maria. So the question is, how do you compare the situation in terms of maternal health, pregnant women's health, before and after before and during the pandemic COVID-19 in Malaysia? And is there any program in place from the government to maintain the nutrition status and health status of pregnant women?
Okay, thank you, Ibu Mutiara. That is a very interesting question. Soalan yang begitu menarik sekali untuk saya jawab sebagai penutup kepada kuliah kita pada hari ini. Ada Ibu Mimi bilang sama saya, apakah program yang dilakukan during pandemic? Ya, untuk makluman Ibu Mutiara dan mahasiswa semua rakan-rakan, kami sebenarnya during pandemic, kami ada pandemik yang lebih besar, iaitu pertukaran government. Dan sewaktu dari pertukaran pemerintah secara tiba-tiba, iaitu mendapat restu daripada raja ataupun kesultanan, tetapi bukan daripada pilihan raya. Pemerintahan perubahan pemerintahan di Malaysia sangat baru. Ya, pada masa pandemik berlaku, masa itu juga kami berlaku perubahan pemerintah. Yang mana pemerintah buat masa ini masih lagi begitu panik sekali untuk menangani masalah COVID. Apatah lagi untuk menekankan isu-isu kesihatan. Ya, mereka masih lagi dalam dilema bagaimana untuk menangani masalah COVID, bagaimana untuk membantu sebab ramai penduduk Malaysia yang hilang pekerjaan sewaktu pandemik. Jadi apa yang saya jangkakan adalah dapati stunting lebih banyak meningkat dan ibu-ibu mengandung yang akan ada masalah dengan food insecurity. Ya, food insecurity adalah masalah utama sekarang kerana Malaysia bukan lagi negara agriculture. Ya, jadi kita terpaksa mengimport makanan. Dengan food security itu kita tidak mempunyai cukup food bank untuk negara. Yang saya jangkakan stunting di kalangan kanak-kanak meningkat, dan baru-baru ini pun sepanjang daripada bulan Mac sejak berlakunya MCO, Movement Control Order, ya, kebanyakan, dan saya yakin di Indonesia juga berlaku fenomena yang sama, di mana kebanyakan suri rumah ataupun penduduk mengorder makanan secara online yang lebih tinggi yang tidak disediakan di rumah. Dan saya yakin di kalangan ibu mengandung, weight gain akan bertambah sebab kami ada kerana masalah obesiti meningkat di Malaysia, terutamanya di kalangan wanita. Jadi bagi yang bekerja, yang mempunyai pendapatan yang lebih tinggi, maka weight gain makin tinggi di kalangan ibu-ibu mengandung. Jadi order online ataupun bisa dilakukan secara meluas during MCO, during PKP. Ya, dan kalau bagi mereka yang berpendapatan rendah pula, ya, ada masalah dengan di Malaysia kami ada masalah dengan food insecurity, hunger, yang mana tiada dietary diversity. Saya bagi contoh, makan telur hari-hari, kan? Dan supermarket pada ketika itu tidak mempunyai sayur dan juga buah-buahan sebab kita terpaksa import makanan daripada luar. Ya, walaupun kita ada sayur, tetapi sayur very limited pada ketika itu due to transportation, access kepada market-market ataupun supermarket. Dan saya lihat fenomena ini bukan hanya di Malaysia sahaja, tetapi untuk seluruh dunia. Tetapi bagi negara yang masih ada agriculture, yang tu adalah jaminan yang paling utama terhadap penyimpanan makanan negara. Bagi negara-negara yang masih ada menekankan agriculture ataupun pertanian. Amat mengecewakan sebab Malaysia bukan lagi negara agriculture tetapi negara industri. Jadi itu antara kebimbangan saya sebagai community nutritionist, ya, yang mana saya melihat bukan unsur nutrien sahaja yang menjadi isu sekarang ni, tetapi isu penyimpanan makanan negara untuk populasi seterusnya. Ya, dan saya jangka kita akan lagi banyak masalah-masalah chronic disease dan juga stunting ataupun wasting di kalangan kanak-kanak. Saya harap saya dapat menjawab persoalan Ibu Mutiara tadi.
Tadi adalah pertanyaan dari Ibu Maria. Jadi ya semoga menjawab pertanyaan Ibu Maria. Terima kasih Dr. Rohana Saya pikir kita sudah mengcover semua hal yang harusnya kita diskusikan, kemudian sudah menjawab semua pertanyaan yang masuk. Untuk selanjutnya, ini Bu Memi ada yang ingin disampaikan?
Ya, terima kasih Bu Mutiara. Ya, Bu Rohana, terima kasih atas kesediaannya untuk mengisi di mata kuliah kami, mata kuliah pemberian makan pada kelompok risiko. Jadi dan salah satunya adalah pada ibu hamil ya. Dan ini bagi kami ini dari pertanyaan yang ada mungkin dan tadi pertanyaan-pertanyaan ada ini merupakan menjadi suatu awal ya Bu Rohana. Jadi tidak hanya mungkin nanti diskusi-diskusi berikutnya, baik itu nanti yang akan terfasilitasi dalam bentuk penelitian ataupun dalam bentuk perkuliahan bersama, ini perlu kita lanjutkan ya Ibu ya, karena
insya Allah akan dipanjangkan walaupun jauh di mata ya, tapi dekat di hati.
Di hati ya, karena kita ada walaupun kita berdekatan sama-sama Melayu, tapi permasalahan yang kita hadapi agak berbeda. Kemudian permasalahan yang dihadapi juga agak berbeda juga ya. Ini misalnya pandemi ya, jadi masalah politik cukup kuat ya.
Cukup memberi kesan.
Iya, dan di Indonesia ada tapi tidak atasi ya. Jadi kita lebih banyak fokus ke pandemi. Jadi dan akhir-akhir ini mulai banyak diskusi bagaimana pengaruh dari pandemi terhadap masalah gizi, khususnya yang di sini ini sekarang sedang banyak menjadi fokus nasional adalah stunting. Jadi diskusi-diskusi ini mungkin apalagi Bu Rohana di community nutrition, jadi bisa kita lanjutkan di kesempatan yang lain ya. Sekali lagi kami atas nama tim mata kuliah ini, di sini ada saya, Ibu Mutiara, Ibu Uke, Ibu Emi, Pak Toto, dan juga ini tadi saya lihat ada Bu Susi, Bu Afi, Bu Santi, Bu Jan, banyak dosen ramai sekali yang tertarik dengan mata kuliah ini. Sekali lagi terima kasih Bu Rohana atas waktu yang kami mendapatkan ilmu dari Ibu Rohana.
Ya, terima kasih banyak.
Mungkin kita bisa foto dulu.
Ya, foto Bu Mutiara.
Iya, ini siapa nih? Mbak Lintang bisa dibantu untuk dokumentasi?
Siap. Saya
Latifah, oke.
Mohon maaf, Bu Rohana boleh ditutup dulu untuk share screen-nya supaya bisa muncul semua.
Share-nya dulu.
Oke.
Saya hitung ya. 1, 2, 3.
Sebentar, Dek. Mohon Bapak Ibu yang lain bisa menyalakan videonya. Oke. Ibu Rohana, videonya memang nggak bisa kelihatan ya? Oke, kita coba sekali lagi, Dek.
Ini ada 2, jadi nanti 2 kali ya, Bapak Ibu sekalian. Ini yang untuk yang pertama dulu. 1, 2, 3. Oke, sebentar.
lecture dan webinar hari ini. Terima kasih atas kehadiran Bapak Ibu sekalian. Terima kasih sekali lagi kepada Dr. Rohana. Semoga situasi ini segera membaik ya, baik di Indonesia maupun di Malaysia, sehingga kita masih diberi kesempatan untuk bersilaturahmi lagi. Akhir kata, mohon maaf apabila ada kesalahan. Terima kasih atas partisipasinya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Bu Rohana, Mbak Tia.
Mohon maaf untuk Bapak Ibu dapat mengisi daftar hadir terlebih dahulu bagi yang belum mengisi. Untuk sertifikatnya insya Allah nanti dikirimkan H+7 setelah maksimal H+7 setelah pelaksanaan seminar pada siang hari ini.
Pamit ya, terima kasih semuanya.
Sama-sama Ibu.
Rohana, Bu Memi, Bu Mutiara semua. Assalamualaikum.
Iya, waalaikumsalam. Oh iya, nanti untuk materi kuliahnya akan dikirimkan ke kami di tim Mata Kuliah. Nanti mungkin akan di-upload di ini ya, platform pembelajarannya ya, nanti silahkan bisa diakses oleh Bapak Ibu dan teman-teman mahasiswa.